today.
We told you it was likely. Now it's official. Congressman Doug Collins is in the race, going up against Georgia's newest senator.
We found out what some Georgia evangelicals think about having two Republican candidates in the race for Senate.
Plus, we broke news. Dozens of state troopers are now fired, caught up in a cheating scandal.
It's a punch in the gut.
New this hour, we're investigating what happens to all of the cases they were handling.
Live, local, late-breaking. This is Channel 2 Action News at 6 p.m. Coverage you can count on.
Good evening. I'm Justin Farmer.
I'm Jovita Moore. We're following several big stories impacting all Georgians this evening. The Department of Public Safety calls news of a cheating scandal a punch in the gut. Dozens of state troopers are accused of cheating on a test at the training academy. We got pictures of all 31 officers. They were all part of the same class, and today they're all fired. Channel 2's investigative reporter Aaron Diamond is live in Southeast Atlanta. Aaron, you broke this story today, but you've actually been working on this one for a while.
Yeah, Jovita, we got tipped off to this months-long internal probe here at GSP headquarters last Thursday. That's when we filed open records request for the investigative file. Just 6 days later, 31 troopers now off the road, and we're working to get our arms around the fallout.
This goes to our very core values, and so it is something that it's difficult to swallow.
We peppered Georgia Public Safety Commissioner Mark McDonough with questions moments after he confirmed the agency just fired 31 state patrol troopers in the wake of a massive cheating scandal.
It's a punch in the gut, Aaron. Our whole mode is to produce an officer that the public can trust.
The troopers all graduated from the same training academy class last August. We know leadership launched an internal probe in October after a citizen came forward to admit she took an online radar test for one of the cadets. Turns out the whole cadet class cheated on the test. Internal documents Channel 2 got first through an open records request show each former cadet disclosed they had cheated and described the methods they utilized to cheat. One trooper told investigators that he helped him basically get him to the right answer to pass it.
It makes me think, what else is going on, you know, like what else is going on that the public don't get to hear about.
Other taxpayers are worried too.
Certainly, we can't have public servants who don't have a fundamental sense of ethics.
We asked McDonough about the fallout.
You remove a certain group of people from the roadway, it does have an impact, in my opinion, on public safety.
And McDonough told us the agency has already notified several courts to flag the more than 100 cases the troopers caught before getting the axe.
We have a responsibility to maintain that relationship with the public and to show that we'll handle our business even when it is very, very difficult. And this is a difficult thing.
Now, within the last 90 minutes, a spokesperson for Georgia Governor Brian Kemp texted me a statement saying we're closely monitoring the situation to get answers and ensure that this issue is properly addressed. It's a serious matter, and we're glad it's been brought to light. Clearly, still a lot to unpack with this story. We'll keep going through this file as well as track any of the impact. We're live in Southeast Atlanta. Aaron Diamond, Channel 2 Action News.
And we'll be watching to see how this all works out. Aaron, thank you. We broke this major story with an alert on our free news app this morning. Make sure you download our WSB TV News app to be first to know about big stories when they break.
All right, this is big for Georgia and the U.S. Senate. Georgia Congressman Doug Collins is now in the race. Collins dodged that question just yesterday.
For the other question many of you may be asking, there'll be more coming later. God bless you. I'll see you later.
Later was today. The Republican will run against Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler. Now, she was chosen by Georgia Governor Brian Kemp to fill the seat vacated by Senator Isaacson. Channel 2's Richard Elliott live on this from the state capitol with Richard, how some are reacting now to having two Republican candidates fighting for the same seat.
Well, you know, evangelicals make up a large voting bloc of the Georgia Republican Party. But the Faith and Freedom Coalition right now, they're not taking an official stance on either candidate, but that did not stop the governor today from asking them to support his pick for the Senate. Good morning. We followed Congressman Doug Collins around the state capitol Tuesday as he visited lawmakers, but he waited until his appearance on Fox and Friends Wednesday to make the official announcement.
Well, I know there's been some discussion about it, and I've been asked by y'all before about the Senate race down here, and I'm just going to confirm we're in for the Georgia Senate race down here.
Collins is hoping for an endorsement from the president.
The governor of the great state of Georgia, Brian Kemp. Brian, come on out.
A few hours later, Governor Brian Kemp appeared before the Faith and Freedom Coalition and appealed to them to support his hand-picked successor to John Johnny Isakson, Senator Kelly Loeffler. He said she supports Trump's agenda too.
She doesn't owe anything, anybody, anything in Washington, D.C. What she owes is her fighting for this state of Georgia. And that is what I told her to do when she got up there.
Meanwhile, the bill eliminating the free-for-all primary for that Senate seat and creating party primaries instead is still in the House committee. The bill's sponsor, Democrat Bob Trammell, says the bill is fair.
We have time to address it, ample time, and all candidates will be in the same situation, so it doesn't advantage one candidate or another.
Faith and Freedom's founder, political veteran Ralph Reed, says he knows both Collins and Loeffler well, so they're not going to advise Georgia evangelicals how to vote.
It's going to be a hard decision for a lot of these voters, but it's a decision that we're going to leave to them.
Meanwhile, the other big question is, who are all the Democrats that are going to jump into this race? Matt Lieberman, the son of former U.S. Senator Joe Lieberman, he is in, but we're expecting other Democrats to jump in this race, and soon. We're live at the state capitol. Richard Elliott, Channel 2 Action News.
And our state just gets higher profile with all of this politically speaking, Richard, and it's going to be a busy year for politics here. We'll have unmatched coverage for you. March 24th, Georgians will head to the polls to vote in the presidential primary and special election. Then the general primary election for local and state offices will take place May 19th. Then move to fall. November 3rd, Georgians will vote in the presidential election, general election, and special election.
New developments in the murder of a Delta Airlines employee in a Delta Airlines parking lot.
Listen to this one. Broke this story this afternoon that another Delta employee killed Alexis Reed Sunday night.
Police say Rashawn Jones killed another woman hours later and then killed himself.
Channel 2's Taisha Fernandez has been working this story for days. Ty, with us now. You were able to speak to Alexis Reed's mother.
As you can imagine, she was just shocked to hear that her daughter was killed at work by another co-worker, and even more shocked to hear that the same suspect is accused of killing another woman. But the suspect will never face charges because when police had him cornered, he killed himself.
We are confident that he's our primary suspect and the investigation continues.
Murder suspect Rashawn Jones worked for Delta. And investigators say he was a third-generation Delta worker because at least one of his parents works for the company and one of his grandparents do too. Right now, police aren't saying why Jones killed his co-worker Alexis Reed Sunday night, and they're not saying why he killed another woman, Tynesha Shelby, hours later. But police are saying this was not a love triangle.
The connection is Mr. Jones himself. Mr. Jones knew Miss Reed. And also knew Miss Shelby, but there is no connection between Reed and Miss Shelby.
I spoke to Alexis Reed's mother moments after police told her a co-worker stalked her daughter and killed her in the Delta employee parking lot right after she got off her shift. The mother was too upset to do an interview right now, but sent me this statement. Thank you, Delta employees who helped the College Park police. I thank the police for the sleepless nights they had until they got Rashawn Jones. Now my baby can rest in peace and glory. Thank you, Jesus. She also said funeral services will be in California, where Alexis Reed is from. We're working to learn more about the other victim, Tynesha Shelby. Today, police told us they had a tough time finding Tynesha Shelby's family, so they just told her family about what happened today, this afternoon, around 2 o'clock. We're working to find those relatives so we can find out more about Tynesha Shelby. We are live in College Park. Taisha Fernandez, Channel 2 Action News.
Thanks, Taisha. Now, new developments in a Georgia death row inmate's fight to avoid execution just hours away. Today, the state Supreme Court unanimously denied a stay of execution for a convicted killer. Donnie Cleveland Lance is set to die by lethal injection this evening, 7 o'clock. Lance was sentenced for killing his ex-wife and her boyfriend in November of 1997 in Jackson County. Lance maintains that he did not kill them.
Only Channel 2 Action News got this. It's exclusive video showing Atlanta firefighters rescuing a woman from her SUV. So take a look at the video. She drove her car off of a parking deck and wedged it between the deck and a building. This happened at the Target Shopping Center on Peachtree and Wyuka up in Buckhead. Atlanta firefighters spent hours there at the scene today. Take a look. This is how the SUV was angled between the deck and the building there. This is the third level of that parking deck at Peachtree and Wyuka. That's near the Target and right across from Phipps Plaza. So you'd think using something like a crane was certainly out of the question.
So if we just yank it out, it's just going to fall down. We have to figure out a way to safely do that without damaging the wall as it is now and try to prevent as much damage with the vehicle as it is with trying to get it out.
We go here every day for lunch, so we saw all the cars, the trucks. It's kind of crazy.
Atlanta firefighters trying to save the woman and her car and the building. Crews removed the SUV just before 5 o'clock. Police gave the driver a ticket. No one was inside that part of the building because it is under construction.
New at 6, state legislators from DeKalb County are trying to again pass an ethics law for the county. Voters rejected the bill that passed last year. Channel 2 investigative reporter Richard Belcher says the early signs are that this could get a bit nasty.
You bet. At a minimum, lawmakers have to change the way some ethics board members are selected. But the proposal that voters rejected last November made several major changes, including getting rid of a critical position in the ethics office. A new bill that does not eliminate any jobs got a chilly reception today.
We are here to work together in a collaborative fashion, even though we disagree.
The chair of DeKalb's House members acknowledging the obvious ethics legislation was divisive last year and remains so. The failed plan would have done away with the position of ethics officer, a job now held by Stacey Kalberman. She's been openly critical of some of the policies of DeKalb CEO Michael Thurmond. Here, she criticized the practice of allowing senior purchasing officials to accept gifts from companies doing business with the county.
I have been concerned since the day I got here. I've been asking for that policy to change since the day I got here.
DeKalb voters rejected the plan that would have put Kalberman out of work. One legislator is now proposing a law that would leave her position in place.
Is this really about Stacey Kalberman?
For some representatives, it may be. For me, it's about getting the ethics board back up and running. They cannot function unless we fix the appointment process for those 4 seats, and that's all this bill does.
But the delegation chair publicly scolded Wilson for pushing his bill right away.
You never said to me that this was what you were going to do. I specifically asked you not to do it.
Emails from December. I emailed the entire delegation in December with a copy of this bill and said this is what we're going to do. This is ridiculous.
For people to say that they're surprised that we're doing this today is rather alarming.
If today was any indication, it may well be a contentious couple of months before DeKalb legislators pass a new law to fix the now inactive ethics board. And today's meeting involved only House members from DeKalb. Senators also have to weigh in. We'll be busy. We'll stay on it. Live in the newsroom, Richard Belcher, Channel 2 Action News.
Wanted to raise the topic.
All right, live happening now. That is Adam Schiff on the Senate floor as the next face of President Donald Trump's impeachment trials underway. This has been going on for hours. As you look live inside the Senate chamber, senators asking questions to House managers and the president's defense team. Here's how this all works right now. Any senator with a question writes on a special card. Chief Justice John Roberts then reads them aloud. Then either House managers, such as Schiff, President Trump's defense, or both answer the questions. Now, the one question that really stands out today, and this is making headlines, as a matter of law, the question, as a matter of law, does it matter if there was a quid pro quo?
All quid pros are not the same. Some are legitimate and some are corrupt, and you don't need to be a mind reader to figure out which is which.
Everybody has mixed motives, and for there to be a constitutional impeachment based on mixed motives would permit almost any president to be impeached.
And there's the crux of it, right? The question of whether the Senate will hear from new witnesses will not be answered until Friday at the earliest.
Most of us in North Georgia today remain dry, had a few sprinkles here or there, but the more widespread rain in Middle Georgia, that's where you can see some patchy, dense fog around Lake Country. I'll show you how cold it'll be tonight. I've got my eye on some mid-60s too, all that coming up.
A move to significantly toughen Georgia law when it comes to gangs. This is Mark Winnie. We've got the governor and a gang member.
A tractor trailer smashed into 9 cars at the world's busiest airport.
This is not a fender bender. That's your car. That's my car.
New this hour, cars were not the only damage done. Witnesses tell us how all of this unfolded. Live next.
Closed captioning sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. Dial pound law on your cell phone. Pound law, that's all.
Tomorrow at 5 on Channel 2 Action News.
Local